Well, well, well. We have returned. And, you know, I had a pretty good week entertainment-wise.
Ooh.
So, yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some goofy virtue signaling bullshit, too. So let's get to it, shall we? My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin. Still not a Hatman today.
Indeed. Welcome to Micah and The Hatman on Stuff Live. Okay, real quick before we get started, if you have not backed in 3 nights, 4 days
3 nights.
yet, there is a link to back it right now in the description. We are $35 away, if I recall correctly. $25 away from $10,000. So yes, link is in the description. So if you haven't backed it yet, please do so. Pretty exciting for us. This is like moving much faster than Inglewood did. So
hey.
it's pretty crazy.
Though
that partially might be, yeah. Hatman, go ahead and show that off.
This is your director's cut book. I mean, it even says director's cut on it. But
that is such a pretty cover. Show the back.
Yeah. I mean, it's wraparound again. So I don't want to show off I've showed off the inside. I don't want to show off the director's cut content.
Yeah, that stays exclusive.
That's for director's cut.
Because here's the thing, we are 80% going to run a second chance campaign next month. I have already devised what the cover will be. We're gonna have Brian and Armand do it again. And it'll be the same print quality as this, but I don't know if we're going to reprint the director's cut. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what happens. But that cover, it's too late. Can't get it again.
Nope.
We are never reprinting it. And if we do end up putting these books in shops, that cover is not seeing shops. That cover, a different cover will be the one that sees shops. So.
Yep.
All right. Hatman.
Yes.
You told me that you got your ass to Mars.
I did get my ass to Mars, and it turns out that I'm not who I think I am. Because I thought I was the Hatman, but it turns out I had my memory wiped, and I'm just regular man. Also, I started the reactor, but anyway. Total Recall. So, I saw this movie years and years and years ago, but the TV version. Yeah, I know.
So you didn't see the one with the 3 titties?
No, I did not.
Interesting.
And this past weekend, at my girlfriend's parents' house, movie was on, and yep, it was the TV version. So, no 3 titties, but most of the violence was intact, which I was shocked because I didn't remember that before. So I decided, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna buy the goddamn movie and watch it in all of its glory.
Good man.
And there were 3 titties. Twice. And it was good. All right, that's it. Review over now. But no, it's a good movie. I mean, it's Paul Verhoeven, for God's sake. Like, how could it be bad? But no, this is a classic. You know, it's a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie, and it's got so many damn twists and turns to it. I think writers today could really learn something about how to mislead your audience and how to pull off a plot twist by watching that movie. Because like you think, okay, you figured out what the twist is. Okay, the twist happens, and then nope. 30 minutes later, there's another one. Okay, well that's fucking crazy. And then nope. 30 minutes later, there's another one. Okay, what the fuck is going on here? Like it's crazy, and it's crazy in a good way. And it's also I love the story for this. I love the aesthetic of it. You know, Mars, at least what you see of Mars, is more of a slum than fucking Earth is, and yet it's played up at the very beginning like this vacation destination. You know, Venusville. Oh, you know, Venusville. It's really nice, and then you go there, and it's just sort of like the shitty part of town, but at least there's titties there. there's there's titties, and there's mutants that can read your mind. Perfect.
Yeah. Look on the sunny side.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, it's really good, and I'm not going to spoil the twists. I'm not any of them. I'm not going to spoil them because watching this movie fresh is, I think, the best way.
Yeah.
Because the movie is about mind fucks. And the best way to really get that is not know anything about it going into it, because then you will get mind fucked with all the other characters in there. It's great.
Daniel Parker throws in $5. Says this version is the better than the one with Colin Farrell. I would agree.
Yes, which is why when Michael requested, you know, what was your pick of the week, I said Total Recall, the good one.
Yeah, I love this movie.
Total Recall, is this Arnold's best performance in his career?
No.
I think Terminator 2 beats it.
He actually had a recent movie that was really, really good too. That there was talk of him getting nominated for an Oscar. Let me look up the name of it.
I think Terminator 2 he pulls it off a little better. There are a few parts in this where it doesn't work with Arnold. Sort of like how, you know, some roles don't really fit Stallone, or like some dialogue doesn't fit him. That sort of thing. But on the whole, no, he does really well.
Yeah. Maggie
I
is the film that is often touted as his best.
Well, I've not seen it, so I can't say.
I would put Predator as his best personally, but
Interesting.
Darth Bobcat threw in $1. Says I don't have anything to say, but keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I don't know if I've got anything else really to say.
It definitely
about
gets a
this,
recommendation from both of us.
Absolutely. And well, there is one thing I will say.
Oh, real quick, another donation. Chaos Sonic says, at least these mindfucks are better than The Last of Us 2. Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Sharon Stone is in it, and you get to see a little bit of her titty, but that's about it. This is no Basic Instinct Sharon Stone.
Yes. All right.
So, yes, thumbs up and a recommended from me.
Same here. My pick of the week. I actually took some time to play a single-player horror game. The Resident Evil 8 announcement put me in the mood for it. But I didn't want to sit down and just play Resident Evil 7 again. Or 2 Remake or 3 Remake. Because the problem is with 2 Remake and 3 Remake, I've beaten them so many times it's almost silly. So instead, what I did was I played an indie horror game that I had bought about 6 months ago and hadn't touched yet. So for those wondering, yes, I do actually play my backlog in the summer. I don't know what my next game will be. I need to look through my backlog and see what else I haven't played yet. But and now there's a Steam sale going on, but I'm flat freaking broke, so that's not gonna happen. But anyway,
well, Steam summer sale makes people broke. However, so
yeah, I was broke beforehand, so now I can't even do it. I gotta worry about food first. But anyway,
food is important.
Call of Cthulhu, the official game, is its full title. It's developed by a company called Cyanide. I had no clue who they are. And they really haven't done anything of note except for like a bunch of cycling games. But they all there's been stuff that they've published. Oh, they did Styx Master of Shadows, which is apparently a pretty good stealth game. I never played it. But Bobcat threw in another few bucks, and he said, let it load. Come on, computer. Now he has something to say. Total Recall Remake could be alright if they reworked the ending a bit, and it didn't have the Total Recall name attached. I think it might have been another script that they just renamed. Possibly. But anyway, I had never heard of the development studio who had done this. I knew what Focus Home Interactive was. But I was more interested in the fact that Lovecraftian horror does not get adapted very often. More so now than it used to. But a lot of what you'll see is like Lovecraft inspired. You'll see stuff that is like I think the only major film that has been made of a Lovecraft film, and I mean major, as in like big budget production, was the most recent Color Out of Space. And I know that From Beyond and Reanimator got movies. Those were low budget. Those are B movies. But
I like Reanimator though. It was a good one.
Reanimator was good. But anyway, Call of Cthulhu is an indie game. It feels like an indie game. Ergo, and like everything about it. There's a level of indie jank to it. Sort of like the previous Call of Cthulhu game, Dark Corners of the Earth. For anybody who's played that game, like that game has a very devoted fan base, but if you play it, it is janky as fuck. Good, but janky as fuck. But anyway, this is basically a mystery game with some stealth elements that has like a faux RPG element to it that was actually a little bit much. Wasn't really necessary at points. It didn't really have as much of an impact on the gameplay as I would have liked. But though there are a couple key segments that if you don't have certain skills, you can get fucked. But what I really liked about it, despite all the jank, were two things. Very well written story. And the other thing is that it captures the atmosphere of a Lovecraft story. Because if you've never read Lovecraft, a lot of Lovecraft feels like horror mystery. A lot of what you're doing is trying to piece together what's going on. And then by the time that whatever is going on hits you, you're like, oh God, what the fuck just happened? And then it ends. Because it's horror. It's supposed to be bleak, which most Lovecraft stories are very bleak. Just look at The Shadow over Innsmouth. Oh, and of course, At the Mountains of Madness. The way that ends is mortifying. Because you don't really know exactly how it ended. It's hinted at, but you don't really know. But
Well,
one
there's
thing that I
several of
really
his stories that are in like that.
one thing that was really cool about this is that it toys around with perception. How you would perceive the otherworldly. Would your mind really be able to handle it? Which is something that Lovecraft always dabbled in, because for those who don't know, he was a devout atheist. So he always had this opinion that gods would not be something that humans could properly grasp. If you were to gaze upon them, you'd go crazy, which is why Cthulhu has that effect on people. But we're going a little over time here, so I'll just basically say this. It is a really well written game. It is it feels like they put in a couple extra steps to keep it from being a walking simulator. But if you want a game that you can get past a little indie jank for some story, this is a good little pick. I wouldn't buy it for more than $10 though. It's not really a game that I would ever pay full price for, ever. But it was still fun. So there you go.
So how does it compare to the actual story, Call of Cthulhu?
It's completely different.
Fair enough.
So
I was about to say, when you were talking about, like, it dabbles in perception and whatnot, I was like, okay, so it's following it pretty well.
Nope,
but
doesn't follow it at all. Actually, no, it's based on the tabletop RPG.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, but it's from what you described, it sounds like they at least captured Lovecraft's style.
His absolutely. Style. Yeah, they very much capture his style of storytelling.
Cool. Well, that's good. That's good.
All right, we need to move on. So This one is kind of a dual topic, but because I've actually gone to Splash Mountain, and I'm not being sexual there. I mean, I've actually ridden the actual Splash Mountain ride.
Yes.
So this and the Dixie Chicks have done some stupid today. Or this week. Mm-hmm. We're only going to spend a few minutes on this. But, so, Splash Mountain is getting completely remade to be Princess and the Frog themed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dixie Chicks are now just calling themselves the Chicks.
You know what they should have just called themselves?
Irrelevant?
Retired.
There's that too.
Yeah. But I think the Dixie Chicks thing is dumb because it feels like it came as a result of an article that said, now that Lady Antebellum has changed their name, should the Dixie Chicks follow suit? And then a week later, the Dixie Chicks did just fucking that.
Yeah.
Which makes no damn sense whatsoever.
Here's the thing about this whole mess for me. Why not just build a new ride based around the Princess and the Frog? Why do you have to? Why do you have to remake the old one? Do black people not deserve better efforts?
And that's the thing too. They have the perfect spot for it in Disneyland, in New Orleans Square.
Yup.
Where the movie takes place.
Yup.
But no, they have to retheme Splash Mountain, and the reason why is nothing but a virtue signal. Splash Mountain, yes, based on Song of the South, which I still will say is not a racist movie
at all.
Like the only thing that you could construe as racist in that movie is the tar baby scene.
Yeah.
Which was not in Splash Mountain, by the way, because Splash Mountain is based on the animated parts of Song of the South.
Exactly.
Splash Mountain was so far removed from Song of the South as far as people knew, because majority of people getting on that ride didn't know the source material. They thought it was totally fucking original.
Yep.
So when you're that far removed from it, I think it's safe to say that it doesn't matter, because whatever context is there has been totally erased in the minds of the general public. And the ride itself, still no racist elements to it, unless of course you think you think getting on Southern accents and in our drawl is racist.
Apparently it is.
Whatever. I don't fucking think so.
But
it doesn't. That don't make no sense to me.
I think the whole thing is kind of bullshit because
I think it is too.
like the Princess and the Frog should have its own area. In fact, they should have Keith David come there once a year to sing "I've Got Friends on the Other Side." God damn it, because he's Keith fucking David.
Yes. And then he dresses as Spawn and gets the fuck out of there when he's done.
That'd be hilarious.
But no, I mean it's nothing but a fucking virtue signal. There was nothing wrong with Splash Mountain. Nothing wrong with it at all. Because they have to divest from anything, then of course it's got to go. Peter Pan's Flight. Have you been on Peter Pan's Flight also?
No.
So Peter Pan's Flight has that whole "what makes the red man red" sequence in it.
Oh yeah.
So what's the over under on the movie Peter Pan and then the ride? The ride would have to be changed obviously, but what's the over under on the movie itself being canceled?
Oh, it's going to happen at some point.
The Indian part, that's not a small part of the movie.
No, it's not.
You can't just cut that out and then keep the movie coherent. You cannot do it. Tiger Lily is still a fucking part of it.
Hook is superior, though. Hey, you know I'm right. So to conclude on this particular section, because we got to move on, because we're like way behind on time. This is so stupid that it is. The level of stupid is just immeasurable at this point. So.
It is, and most of the Disney files that I know are absolutely livid that this is happening. So contrary to what people on Twitter are saying that, oh no, this is a great move. No, they're pissed.
Yeah, here's the thing about Twitter: it's not representative of most people.
No, it's not.
There's somebody in the audience I'm looking at specifically. It's not representative of most people. Stop it. Stop watching Black Pill. Okay. So, I have never watched a single episode of Big Mouth. Nor do I ever have the desire
Neither have I.
With that said, a thing happened this week. Chaos Sonic threw in a buck. He says here. What I find ironic is several black people Disney wanted made Disney play Song of the South in the movie theaters again. That's funny. But
casual reminder: Walt Disney lobbied for an Academy Award for James Baskett for Uncle Remus.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so there is a black character on Big Mouth who is played by a Jewish actress and comedian. And she left the series after she's been playing a black character for a while. Now, for those who don't know who it is, I can't remember her name, but she was the doctor who got Eddie Brock into the Life Foundation in Venom. She played that character too.
Can't tell you.
Can't tell you her name, but at least you have a reference point. But her reason for saying so, for doing it, was that black characters should not be played by white people.
Ghost says in the chat, also Cleveland's voice actor quit today as well.
Not
from
surprised.
Family Guy.
Yeah.
So
here's how dumb this is. So, does that rule apply to all characters ever? That they must be played by someone of that particular race? Because if that is the case, what about James Avery? The voice of the fucking Shredder, who is a Japanese character. Hiroku Saki. Then you have Phil LaMarr, the voice of Samurai Jack, a Japanese character. He has also voiced Aquaman several times in the Injustice games. Enjoy the hot sauce. I have a video on Discord for you to watch. It's not anime cringe. And then Darth Bobcat throws in a bucket, says $1 for doubles hentai. Good lord. Anyway. So we've hit our goal for the day, so thank you, folks. God, Serena threw in a buck too. And what did she say? Writing an alternate comic strip for the first one I posted on Discord due to introducing plot points didn't follow up. Wanted to know if I should keep a 44-page first issue or reduce it. 44 is a good start for a graphic novel. Okay, anyway. What are some other good ones? John DiMaggio played a black guy in the first Gears of War, who gives you the keys to the Junker. Can't remember that guy's name. I don't even remember who all I referenced in the article I wrote. Let me pull it up real quick. But there's a lot of people who have voiced characters that aren't of the same race that they are. James Earl Jones is Darth fucking Vader, anyone?
I mean, Phil LaMarr alone has done white and black characters.
Yeah, I mean, he's the voice of Vamp in Metal Gear Solid, who's Romanian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laura Bailey voiced a black woman in the game Uncharted 4. And she plays Kate Diaz in Gears of War, who's Latino.
Mm-hmm.
Or Latina. Patrick Sates is another good example. He's a big anime VA. He played Scorpion in Mortal Kombat 9 and 10, and in the most recent Mortal Kombat animated movie. Scorpion's Japanese. His real name is Hanzo Hazashi.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Steve Bloom plays Sub-Zero in a lot of media. Sub-Zero's Chinese. There's a ton of examples of this. And there's nothing wrong with this either, by the way.
Since we're sort of on Cleveland show territory, you know the redneck guy Lester?
Yeah, that's
Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah, that's Kevin Michael Richardson.
I would not remove any of these voice actors from their roles, by the way.
Neither would I.
Because they're great in what they do. There's literally nothing wrong with it.
Well, and not to mention, it's like, why are we boiling all of these, like, the characters down to their race? I mean, that's so stereotypical to me. It's like...
Yeah, like...
So if we're going to stereotype, then what should we do next? Make them all eat fried chicken and waffles? And then have watermelon backpacks?
Like, it's ridiculous.
All black characters must now be played by Flava Flav. Yeah, boy!
Jesus Christ. There's a difference between wanting representation as far as, more opportunities for black voice actors, and then just straight up saying, hey, you're not good enough for this role because you're not insert race here.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I don't know, Hollywood's been trying to push that to, at least in live action stuff, like, oh, only disabled people should play disabled characters. Only trans people should play trans characters. It's almost like your mind might be blown by this. When you play a role, you are assuming the identity of someone who is not you. It's fucking wild, man.
Mind blowing.
I like to call it acting.
Yeah. Again, another pointless virtue signal. It really doesn't. It sets a bad precedent.
Yeah,
That is
it
the
does.
end of it, because the fact of the matter is that the best person for the voice role should get the job. You know,
Absolutely.
and if a
Absolutely.
black
And
person
it's going to
voices
be
a white
easier to
guy,
retire those
it's not a
characters.
big deal. Vice versa. You know, it's ridiculous.
And it's easier to retire those fucking characters as opposed to just, you know, give the role up. Because, you know, especially if it's someone really established, like Hank Azaria with Apu, for example.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be the same fucking character. Like, it's not. So it's easier to just do away with it than anything else. I mean, South Park, they didn't recast Chef after Isaac Hayes, under the hand of Scientology, quit and then
Yeah.
later died. God rest his soul. Um, they didn't.
Xenu, rest his
Chef
soul. Get it
as a
right.
character, yeah. Chef as a character was killed off and never seen again except in one of the video games. But that's it. It's easier to do that because once you have become part of that iconic role, you know, moving away from it is basically impossible. Everyone is going to notice. I mean, we notice when someone who is not James Earl Jones does the voice of Darth Vader, or someone who is not Ian McDermott does the voice of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
These are iconic fucking characters.
Yep. Okay, before we move on to the next topic, 2 donations we got. Chaos Sonic throws it $1, says the entitled brats and themselves actors. Forget this, but they are actors, as in they're supposed to be somebody they're not. Exactly. Serena donates in $1. She says, to add on that, my first script came across as an action horror. The new one I'm doing frames the story as an occult horror with magical girl elements. So sort of like Plo Madoka, whatever Magica. Okay. Also, Dad of Boy, played by a black man. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the current voice of, well, both voices of Kratos.
Yeah, both of them. Both
Played
of them
by black dudes.
were black dudes. Yeah. Nothing
So.
wrong with that.
All right. Fucking love this meme. So, The Last of Us 2.
Oh my god.
What a
Where to begin?
what a fucking train wreck this is. So, it sold a lot of copies. But that's to be expected, because the first Last of Us was a very popular game.
Mm-hmm.
And despite what some people on the internet might tell you, Get Woke, Go Broke does not have a 100% success rate. Never has.
Mm-mm. Nope. Reminder that the Game of Thrones finale was still and I believe it is still the most watched program on HBO ever. So, and everyone hated it.
Yeah. So, yeah, sold very well. No, and nobody's surprised, because the normies that are out there were interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is enough. Samyuji Yamazaki threw in a few more bucks. Says apparently the sex scene in this game was mo-kept by the director, and he did both characters. I don't know if it's true by any means. Well,
No,
nobody knows the full truth of it, but there is a possibility that, in a sense, Neil Druckmann did go and fuck himself. So
makes sense because there was too much dry and not enough pillow biting.
But here's the thing. Um, what people need to realize is that the internet is not real life. Again, the internet does not represent the majority of people. At all. It never has. If it was, a Jim Sterling video would be enough to wreck a video game. How many games has Jim Sterling tanked, AAA games has Jim Sterling tanked the release of? Despite his best efforts, 0. Same with a lot of game journalists. They try to tank the release of a game and it never works. That is because people buy what they think is interesting. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. The Last Jedi turned a profit.
Yeah, it did.
Captain Marvel made $1 billion. That doesn't mean that the audiences after it was finished enjoyed what they got. There is there is the possibility to have a fiscal success and artistic failure. Happens quite often. 2 words for you. Saint anger. So that needed to be said, I think. But speaking of artistic failure, this game at least seems to me to be a slap in the face to people who actually liked the first one. And one of my favorite points that's ever been made was in regards to what Druckmann tries to do here is in regards to subverting your expectations. If you subvert someone's expectations, and the move that you... Because it's always a risk. If the move that you make is one that doesn't have any payoff or catharsis, people will ultimately hate it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the problem with... Or that's the problem, generally speaking, with a lot of stuff like that. Is they have to basically do exactly that to justify the move, you know, because there's plenty of things out there that subvert expectations of how the game is going to go, that people still enjoyed the game, and will say that the story is great. Grand Theft Auto 4, for example, there's only one good ending in Grand Theft Auto 4, and that's the Ballad of Gay Tony. The other 2 games don't end that well. No, and they kind of twist you. But as it stands, this is one of those things where they're trying to subvert expectations. They're trying to basically chase The Walking Dead and try to chase Negan in a sense. But the problem is that Negan's charming.
Yeah. I mean, he was a sarcastic asshole even when he was killing Glenn.
You know, Abby is just this giant steroid ball of rage. And it's just completely unlikable. And should have died. By the way. Should have died. Should have killed her off. Druckmann made probably one of the biggest missteps, I think, in video game history since Sir finishing this fight. So, it was it's a giant mess, and I think that if there is ever a part 3, I don't expect it to do very well.
I don't know if there'll be a fucking part 3 at this point.
No.
How to kill a franchise in 2 installments.
I actually feel bad for Sony trying to cover for this bullshit. Because they tried their damnedest to cover everything up. And this is what they got. So, yeah. All right. Enough with golfing. It's time for the Q&A.
All right. Answer questions. I got to respond to a Inglewood email real quick.
Okay. So, if you are in the Discord server and you want to ask an entertainment question, you're going to want to do that in the general area, just so you know. Holy Ninja Joe, speaking of which, asks, thoughts on The Warden coming to Samurai Showdown, which is an EGS timed exclusive on PC. So yes, it will be a while until I get to play it, because I don't feel like getting it on my PlayStation 4, on my PS4 rather. But anyway, no, I'm glad. I think that it's cool. For Honor's a great game. You know, I think that it doesn't get as much attention as it deserves. I think that kind of a rough launch hurt it in the long run. But I still swear by that game. It's a ton of fun. So, no, I'm glad to see him in there. It's a good choice. Well, let's see here. Spider Nick wants to know, will people ever be able to play roles that are not their skin color again? Oh, yeah. I expect this to blow over. Oh, there's a couple of donations from Chaos Sonic I have to read real quick. He says, first, just because it sold a lot of copies doesn't mean that the fallout would be massive. Also, Japan got rid of the sex scene, and it's banned in the Middle East. Here's the funny thing. The Middle East actually allows weeb porn like games. And then he sent me another donation to let me know that he had sent a donation. Okay, so, but yeah, I imagine that this whole voice acting thing is going to blow over. It'll be a big stink for about a month. And then people will realize, yeah, this is stupid. And a bunch of people and we're losing a ton of voice roles. What do we do now?
I wonder.
King Bean wants to know, what advice would you give him if you wanted to create a modern mythology for a story? Plan it carefully.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Because I want to give you too much advice because I don't want to taint what you're going to be working on.
Be very, very careful that you don't fall into too many of the urban fantasy tropes, because that's becoming a really popular genre now. Yeah, that's about what I've got.
Servant of God wanted to know, given AT&T is cutting costs everywhere, how long until DC Comics is just a fading memory and will Marvel follow, given Disney's issues? I said in my video today I'd give it about 5 years before they consider cutting the comic book end of things. They're going to keep the characters, and maybe they'll sell back issues and reprints, but new stuff, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
The excitement for it's just not there like it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you had Superman comics barely moving 50,000 doesn't speak well to your ability to get people to buy your product.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let me just say this, like, I'm fully fucking aware that I'm only selling in the hundreds, but even so, you know, I'm also not writing Superman or Batman. And I don't think I ever will. But if I ever do, it'll be a nice surprise. But no, it's probably never going to happen. All right. The Discord is dry, so let's hit the chat. Brian Gilmartin wants to know thoughts on Metacritic deleting negative user scores for The Last of Us 2. No surprise there.
Oh yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
No, it's getting review bombed, but positive scores are allowed to stay up.
Oh yeah.
Bullshit.
John Weitzel wants to know thoughts on hosting a podcast with Sargon, Arch Warhammer V, Tim Pool, John Doyle, and Dr. Carolyn Boryashenko. No, that sounds like a mess. Two or three people is like the max I like to talk to. I don't like having huge panels.
You want to see how bad a huge panel sort of thing can be? Look up my old Kotaku in Action live streams.
Yeah, those were kind
We
of.
regularly had 10. We regularly had 10 people on there, and it was chaos, absolute chaos.
Yep. Okay. Leonardo Juan wants to know, do you think anime like Goblin Slayer, The Rising of the Shield Hero, and eventually redo of Healer, despite their controversy, that are giving the anime industry more recognition? I'm not sure about that, honestly. What I will say is this. I think that they definitely show that anime is still capable of taking on more mature subjects and handling it well. I quite enjoyed Goblin Slayer up until the point where it just became just another isekai. And I enjoyed Rising of the Shield Hero up until the point where it just became just another isekai. But they definitely handled tougher subjects very well, I thought. So, let's see here. Deep Delver's been asking this one. Did you hear about Chris Avallone getting Me Too'd? And if so, what are your thoughts? I've already unwishlisted Dying Light 2, Bloodlines, and Alathoth after they dropped him. They dropped him? That I did not know.
I didn't know they dropped him. Wow.
Let me confirm that real quick. Because he didn't stand up to the allegations, which. Yep. Dying Light 2 did. Techland did.
Really?
I saw the accusations and there was like no evidence of them. No. And the one thing he did say he was sorry for is he apparently dated like some chick who worked for Rooster Teeth and it didn't pan out. And he apologized for that. And I'm like, dude,
Was he the one who was getting accused of
raping someone?
Grooming girls?
Yeah.
Oh, raping. Okay.
Like a woman straight up basically said that he raped her. And that there was a bunch of people in the room when it happened. I'm like, oh, and none of them are corroborating your story, huh? He basically just let himself be Me Too'd. And it's a shame because he is the best video game writer that's ever lived. He's incredible at what he does. And now he has basically allowed his career to be destroyed. Meanwhile, oddly enough, my old boss, Angry Joe, handled it the way that he should. He said, This is bullshit. I'm calling my fucking lawyers.
Yep. That's exactly what you fucking do. You lawyer up. Because notice, nobody's talking about Vic anymore.
Yeah.
What's the latest on Vic Mignogna?
Still in the
legal
appeals
issues.
process.
No, yeah. Nobody's saying shit about him anymore.
Serena donated another $1. She said, what are the urban fantasy tropes that the man mentioned? My story is an urban fantasy as well. It takes place in an open fantasy world where mythical creatures exist alongside humans, but in a universe created by goddesses and not God. Tag Hatman in the Discord server and he'll go over it with you.
I think I've already gotten that one. I think I was asked to look at it.
Yes.
So yes, it's that it's on my list. I've got it downloaded, but there are other things I have to edit first.
Yeah. He has a couple scripts for me to edit. So, let's see here. Crystal Hydra wants to know thoughts on Alien Isolation. Liked it. And writing a sequel to it.
Does it really need one?
Yeah, it doesn't really need one. It's a good standalone.
Yeah, I think so too. I need to go back and finish it because I never finished it.
Yeah. And
But
how
what
I
I
would
played
write
was
an alien
fucking
story,
incredible.
I've kind of answered that one like dozens of times probably. Let's see here. Coop's Revenge Home says more for Hatman because we know Micah is the salty gorilla. I just call it like I see it, but he says thoughts on Min Min in Smash.
I never played Arms, so I can't say.
I always called it Armu because that's what the English sounds like.
But no, I've not played Arms, so I mean, she looks at least as a concept, it looks interesting. Like the whole idea of like left and right punches.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that would actually play. I have to wait till actually we can play as her before I say anything. I mean, then again, I wasn't sure how Ryu was going to work, but it worked out pretty well.
Let's see here. Swordsman 100 wants to know: are you going to make any guest appearances, like maybe with Douglas Ernst, to promote 3 nights, 4 days? Not with Douglas Ernst, no. I've already been on some live streams before with Michael Bancroft and Mandy Summers, and yeah, if other people ask me to come on and talk about it, I definitely will. But no, Ernst and I don't get along, so. Hardboiled's been asking this like over and over again. Thoughts on HBO Max briefly pulling Gone with the Wind and then bringing it back with a disclaimer? Surprised that they brought it back, honestly.
Why did it need a disclaimer?
Yeah, exactly. Why does it need a disclaimer? Shouldn't. Miguel Barrera wants to know: does this make Neil Druckmann the Jim Acosta of game developers? No, it makes him the Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Then again, apparently Neil Druckmann loves himself so much he gave himself like 3 cameos in the fucking game.
And apparently gave himself the sex. So yeah, there's a point where one of his fucking self inserts is fucking the new character.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Leonardo Juan wants to know: why do you think that Hulk can defeat Doomsday when the whole point of Doomsday is he dies and is reborn stronger? Because that never happens with Doomsday. He's always gotten his ass kicked by physical might. Always. That whole he never dies the same way twice is bullshit. It's more there just to have an excuse to bring him back whenever they need him. Not to mention you have to be already leagues stronger than the Hulk to beat the Hulk in a slugfest. It's very hard to beat him. There's only a few people who have been able to pull it off. And even then it's rare that they've actually repeated the feat. Matchstick wants to know: what would I write for a Greek mythology story? Hmm. honestly. Greek mythology is just kind of interesting as it is. You know? Like, I'd love to
Mythology's hard.
adapt. I'd really love to adapt fucking the Trials of Hercules into a comic book. That'd be really cool. Wow, did I get through all the questions? We still got 3 minutes to go. I'm Your Pepper wants to know, did you ever see the video of Dwayne Johnson calling out Trump on the riots? Nope, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
I really don't care about The Rock's political opinions. Here's a good one. Eclectic 1995 wants to know, what SNK game would we like to see a new rendition of?
Capcom versus SNK?
I want Garrow Mark of the Wolves 2 and Resurrect Geese Howard. I think that would be interesting. Leonardo Juan. Oh no, Leonardo Juan already got a question. So no double dipping. Gregor Urban wants to know your thoughts on the episode of Night City Wire for Cyberpunk 2077. Haven't seen it.
Oh, did we answer Gojira's question?
No. Thoughts on Michael Keaton returning as Bruce Wayne? Is it confirmed?
Batman Beyond? Batman Beyond?
Yeah, that would be my only thought.
I hope so. I'd love to see him as Batman again.
Let's see here. Miguel Barrera wants to know, with rumors of a Suicide Squad game coming, how would you do a Suicide Squad game? Well, that's the thing. From what I hear, it's the Arkham team that's on it, and this is going to be the last question. So go ahead. If you didn't get a question answered, please put it in for Hatman to get for the overflow.
Yes.
But yeah, it's apparently being developed by Rocksteady. In which case, you're going to want to use the Arkham mechanics. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go. But that's what I would do. You know? That's definitely what I would do. Not to mention, I mean, the Arkham lineup for the Suicide Squad's really good. Because it's I don't even remember who all it was. I know Bronze Tiger's in there. I know Slade is. I know that Deadshot is. And who else is in the Arkham lineup? Well, technically there's two. There's after Arkham Origins, and then there's a second lineup that's later. Catwoman, I think, was in it. Which would be great because you get Grey DeLisle coming back as Catwoman again. And she's really good as that character. Oh, and Bane as well, apparently. And then you'd have Rick Flag. So, yeah, I'd be very interested. And they'll probably throw in Harley Quinn just to throw in Harley Quinn. So, because she's got to be in everything these days, it seems. So yeah, that's what I would do. Just follow the Arkham, way of doing things. Why fix what isn't broken? All right, folks. It is that time. Want to thank everybody for being so generous this week. Serena, Chaos Sonic, Asami Ryuji Yamazaki, Darth Bobcat, Holy Ninja Toe. I think that's basically it who donated. If there's anybody that I'm missing, I apologize. But seriously, thank you. It's actually a huge help to me this week. So, you guys are awesome. Hatman, any final words before we take off? Also, no double dipping, Miguel Barrera. I see you in there.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and take off then. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and I'm going to maybe go put my hat back on.
Oh, and by the way, don't forget to back 3 Nights, 4 Days if you already haven't. So, we'll see you guys next time. Dave's Volt.
Dave's Volt.